It's just another crazy day in this mixed up, wild world of ours. My name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This is Stranger Days for the 6th of March, 2020. Sorry for my delay. I know I did an episode like 2 weeks ago, and then I got sick. And I kind of got paranoid, and I thought to myself, do I have the coronavirus? Is it possible that I have the coronavirus? Because it's been coming to Seattle. In fact, 11 people have died in Seattle, and I was near Seattle when I got this cold, attending the Bernie Sanders rally. Thought to myself, maybe I should take a couple weeks off. I should just kind of like not force myself. I'll just make sure that I'm fine. Turns out it was just a cough. But I'll tell you this, though. At the height of the coronavirus, pre-fear, not where we are right now with everything, with the pre-fear, before the first death, I went and got a haircut, right? I got a haircut, and I told the woman, I said, listen, I've got a cold that I'm getting over. Don't worry, I'm fine, but I'm going to have to stop you, and I'm probably going to have to cough. And then she just looks at me dead-eyed and says, it's not corona, is it? I'm like, no, it's not corona. But I still freaked her out, and I still had to cough, and it still scared everybody in the great clips. And I had to chuckle to myself when that was over. I had to laugh when that was over, because to me, that's just some funny-ass shit right there, right? I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be unsympathetic to this woman's potential fear about a debilitating disease named after a beer. You know, like, I get it. People are afraid of this. They didn't know what it was. They still don't quite know what it is, even though things now do appear to be, in some cases, looking up, in other cases, looking down. All I know, people are dying. Conventions are closing. At this point, we don't even know if E3 is going to happen, which is fine with me because E3 has been shit for years anyway. Just release all that crap online and save me the trouble for having to siphon through a goddamn EA press briefing. But that being said, today on the show, we're going to be talking about some stuff, some funny stuff, actually. There is some humor surrounding the coronavirus a little bit, just a little bit coming out of Florida. A couple other stories about Florida, and even William Shatner, and a weird story about horse semen. Stay tuned to find out more here on Stranger Days for the 6th of March, 2020. So, first things first, let's talk here about methamphetamines, right? Who doesn't love methamphetamines? I mean, normal people don't love methamphetamines. Meth heads love methamphetamines. But one of the things that meth does is that it causes paranoia. It does. Have you ever met a meth head? They're pretty freaking paranoid all the time. They're always scratching. They got to make sure their teeth are pearly white clean, because if not, they fall out because, you know, meth. But they're paranoid. They're fearful, and they don't know quite if what their drugs are going to be contaminated with. So apparently, in Florida, if you believe that your meth is contaminated with the coronavirus, the Florida Police Department will, in fact, test it for free. This is a true story. This is a real story coming out of Florida. And you know, deep down, you know, like the average person would look at this and go, I don't believe this. I don't buy this. I think you're lying to me, sir. This seems like a trap. But a tweaked out Florida meth head, on the other hand, is thinking to themselves, I can get this shit tested, and I can be better off, perhaps. And that's what I think is happening here. So it says, Atlantic Beach, Florida. Florida Police Department wants you to know that if you have recently purchased any illegal street drugs, you can bring it to their station to get it tested for the coronavirus. I love it when the cops find inventive ways in order to get criminals to be more idiotic, right? I mean, there's a great episode of The Simpsons where they make fun of something like this, where they send out letters to criminals who have warrants out for their arrest saying you've won a free boat, and it's just a massive sting operation. And that's what they do. I mean, this is basically the same thing. It's like, are you afraid that you have the coronavirus? Are you sweaty? Are you coughing? Do you look disheveled? Are you unhygienic? Do you feel like death? Well, come on down to the local police station. Get your methamphetamines tested for corona disease, COVID-19. And you might walk out of there a clean, healthy person. Of course, you're not going to be walking out of there. You're going to be in handcuffs going to your local jail. Going on here, it says the Atlantic Beach Police Department posted the PSA to their Facebook page last week. The tongue-in-cheek post issues a warning that if you recently bought cocaine, meth, heroin, or any other street drug in the area, it may be contaminated with the coronavirus. The police department goes on to urge those to bring their drugs to the police department for free testing. If you're uncomfortable going to the police department, police say they will come to you in the privacy of your own home. And all things considered, South Korea is testing 10,000 people a day in South Korea for coronavirus. We're doing 500 a day here in the States. So if you can get that kind of police response to your house, if you fear you have coronavirus, by all means, you may want to get yourself checked out. Because here's the thing, if you don't have health insurance, it may actually be worth the trip to jail in order to get health coverage, because you do get looked after while you're locked up. You actually do. So this is real. This is real. And the thing, look, okay, let's be fair for a second. I don't think that anyone is going to actually do this, right? It's clearly a tongue-in-cheek post, but it's Florida, and you know that someone in Florida is probably going to do something stupid. You know it's in Florida. Someone's going to do something so insanely dumb that they're going to think this is a good idea. They're going to get so paranoid. Maybe they're high on bath salts and they think they're now infected with corona because they ate someone who was infected with corona. I don't know. I'm not a cannibal high on methamphetamines or bath salts or whatever the hell it is they do there in Florida because of the heat and the humidity. But all I know is that this exists. And I believe that there's at least one dumb criminal out there that is willing to dive in and see whether or not they can get tested. And I really hope they post an update, because I would love to know about that. And I'm sure you would love to know about that as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Okay, so keeping on the Florida train, I know this might be a little bit on the mean side. Actually, when I say it's on the mean side, I say this because of the cops, right? Because of the school here. I think this is a legitimate accident on one kid's part, and he's getting in trouble for it. And I think it's kind of dumb, but again, it's Florida, so you know, what do you expect, right? It's Florida, man. All right, so a Florida student here mistakes pepper spray for body spray. 41 students treated for minor injuries, principal said. So yeah, so a Florida student used pepper spray thinking that it was Axe body spray. And let's be fair, the effects for both are quite similar. And it ended up sending 41 kids to the hospital. That is a hell of an accident. But I still don't think I still don't think the middle school kid, because it's a middle school kid, I don't think the middle school kid should be in trouble for this. Because it was an accident. It was an accident. Now, it says here, a Florida middle school student mistakenly released pepper spray after grabbing what he thought was a canister of body spray from another student, the school district official said. The 7th grade student has been issued a civil citation for the February 28th incident at Highlands Middle School in Jacksonville that sent 41 students to hospitals for treatment for minor injuries. Principal Evan Daniels said in a pre-recorded message to parents on Thursday. So the kid, he's a 7th grader. How old are you in 7th grade? 12, 13, right? No, I think you're 12. I think you're 12. I think you're 12 in 7th grade. You go between 12 and 13. But either way, you're just. I mean, if he's a Jewish kid, he's now a man, having his bar mitzvah. He's now a man, right? Whatever. I'm just saying, it's like there's that. He's that age. Okay, he's young. He's dumb. He grabbed something from a friend of his, thinking that it's body spray, right? Because it does say here, thinking that it was body spray. The student who took the canister actually sprayed himself as if he were applying the body fragrance product. The gymnasium was evacuated, and ultimately 41 students were transported to the hospital for care. Now, I've been pepper sprayed, or at least I've been in the proximity of pepper spray. When a woman at Walmart pepper sprayed a crowd of people over video games. This was in Porter Ranch, California, November 2011, Black Friday, right? It was a whole viral thing. I made a lot of money. It was fantastic. I went on a cruise to Mexico. But I mean, I've been there in the proximity of being pepper sprayed, right? I've been in that situation. It's like, yeah, no, you feel it. It sucks. But for one, why did he have pepper spray on him going to school in the first place? Now, the student who brought it will face appropriate disciplinary consequences for bringing a prohibited substance onto the campus, the school district said. The police here say, we take it very seriously, but we're also dealing with students here. And I have to say, a Florida cop, right, the school police department director, Michael Edwards, saying in a news conference, because I guess it's a slow day, there's no shootings happening, I guess. Hey, he's saying we're dealing with kids. These kind of things happen. These mistakes happen. But the kid who brought the pepper spray, I believe, is the one who most likely needs to probably spend the most amount of. This kid's got to get in trouble, right? Because you can't bring that crap to school. I mean, we hear stories about a kid who brought like an NES light gun, right? Like an old yellow and gray or an orange and gray light gun to school, and like it had like the 9-foot cord, and he ended up getting expelled. This kind of crap happens. This whole zero tolerance shit. When people, they know the difference, right? It's like, you're bringing this. It's a Nintendo accessory, you monster, right? Like, what the hell, man? It's so dumb. But I do feel for the 7th grader who applied it to himself quite liberally, because if you've ever shot off pepper spray before, all right, it fires out faster than your first time having sex. It legitimately just shoots out of it. You get about 3 seconds of spray. There's not much in there, but it's potent as hell. So if he liberally shot that on himself, this kid probably fired a solid 2 out of 3, if not the full 3 seconds. Blasted him before he realized what happened. And then that kid is probably feeling the burn in many different ways, and then a lot of other kids are gonna have trouble breathing. So it's really no laughing matter, but at the same time, it's pretty damn funny. Let's be realistic on that front. And speaking of funny, I am from the great state of Oregon. Oregon man is well on his way to becoming the new Florida man, and again, I don't quite know why. It just seems to be happening. But of course, here's a funny story, because if you've ever been to a strip club, man, you know you can get bilked pretty easily, right? Well, this guy's a moron. This guy here, Oregon lawyer, refuses to pay for $200 lap dance, leads cops on foot chase near strip club. Authorities say, yeah, an Oregon lawyer goes to a strip club, refuses to pay out $200, which I find to be fascinating, to be honest with you. It's like, for one, how do you, I asked the question to myself, how do you let it get to be that high? Right. But the truth of the matter is, it's real easy to let it get to be that high. Now, it says here, an Oregon lawyer has landed on the wrong side of the law after authorities say he refused to pay for a pricey lap dance at a suburban strip club and led Washington County deputies on a wild foot chase. Dylan T. Vincent, 38 years old, careened through the blackberry bushes and a train tunnel during his attempted getaway Friday night from the Sunset Strip Gentlemen's Club on Southwest Parkway, the Washington County Sheriff's Office said. Now, here's the thing you need to know about strip clubs in Portland. They're everywhere. All right, they're everywhere. You think there's Starbucks in your city? Right? You think there's a lot of Starbucks in your city? There's like more strip clubs per capita in Portland, Oregon than literally anywhere else. Yet the town I live in, Olympia, which is about 100 miles north, no strip clubs. The only thing we have here is one of those like erotic barista things, right? Like the bikini baristas, one of them. And the nearest strip club is like 40 miles north in Tacoma. Okay. So, like an Evergreen State College is here. So you can only really assume what, your clientele for that area. Anyway, I'm just saying there's lots of strip clubs. There's lots of strip clubs here. Now, this is where it gets crazy. He says this trouble began when he declined to fork over $200 he had agreed to pay for a private 15-minute dance. Now, here's what you need to know about me. I used to run hardcore in strip clubs in San Diego. And I say this because when I ran for governor of California, I was friends with general managers of strip clubs, and they would have me come in, and then they would have me judge like Miss Spring Break or things like that. I was like the rock governor of San Diego. I would go and I would be an official judge at these events. It was not glamorous. It was kind of dumb, but whatever I did, it was fun. As a result of that, I got to know a lot about the whole thing. A 15-minute private dance for $200. I guarantee you this guy here with what looks like a busted up nose was probably promised more than what he got. And I say this because it's happened to friends of mine. Strippers, they're under no like authority to like be honest with you about the upsale, right? They know what they can legally do and they know what they cannot legally do, but they don't have to tell you that. And a lot of the times they won't tell you that. And so if they think they can get some extra money out of you and they can get you all worked up and get you in there for something and kind of half promise you something or make you think something's going to happen without actually doing it, and still get the money out of you, yeah, that can happen. And I say this because that same thing happened to a friend of mine. He ended up going in, he was drunk, right? Went in with a stripper. She had said, hey, listen, I'll do, kind of X, Y, and Z for a couple $100. And he agreed to it. He was kind of lonely at the time. And he agreed to it. And they went back there. And then like 10 minutes later, he came out and he was pissed off because like nothing happened. She took advantage of him and he realized that. And I knew that because I knew this guy. And then I had to go and I had to like name drop who I knew in order to fix the situation. And I did. I got him his money back. So this guy refused to pay for this. I mean, I can't compare my situation to this guy because my situation was with my friend and I knew people. He clearly decided he wanted to get the hell out of there. But anyway, so he bolted from the club and he was hiding from the cops. He had hopped a nearby fence and landed in a blackberry briar. That's where the nose busting up comes from. Now, then he made his way to the Max train station, which is the subway. And he took off east towards a darkened tunnel. And the cops are waiting for him on the other side. They booked him into jail on suspicion of theft and trespassing. Prosecutors are currently reviewing the case. If you want my honest opinion on this one, I don't think the guy's going to go anywhere. I don't think they're going to bust him on nothing. I think if anything, all he has to say at this point is, I was promised X, Y, and Z. I wasn't given X, Y, and Z. And if X, Y, and Z at this point is something that is absolutely fundamentally against the law because strippers have to get licensed and there are vice all over that section, all he has to do is claim impropriety on their part and they'll generally make it go away. It's not going to be worth prosecuting this guy for $200. In civil court, maybe. If the stripper in the strip club wants to go after this guy in civil court, that's something I understand. But ultimately, that's not going to be the case at all. I don't think that's even going to really matter. They're not going to go for it. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid. But the guy is now going to be known for having a mugshot out there, having a name out there, for being the dude who got busted trying to run away from a $200 tab at a strip club for a terrible 15-minute private dance that he didn't ultimately want to pay for. And all things considered, the public shame, the public embarrassment, and the terrible Google searches are going to be enough to stop him from doing anything like that in the future. And that is probably the most valuable lesson learned. And this is my lesson to you. If you want to go to a strip club, treat it like a casino, take $50, blow your load, be done, and then go home. All right. Strippers will lie to you. They're under no reason to tell you the truth about anything. And while a lot of them are really cool, there are some shady ones. And the shady ones are the ones who cause shit like this to happen again. I know because I've seen it happen to my friends. Anyway, let's get into the final story here. The final crazy story of the day. This one to me, the headline alone is enough to get anyone's attention. William Shatner gets horse semen in divorce settlement. Man, I don't know about you, but that's a prize, right? Now, if you think about it, you have to really kind of, think about what it is or the headline here is saying. He gets horse semen in divorce settlement, right? Horse semen in divorce settlement. So that means that this is a valuable thing. If you know anything about horse racing, there's a lot of money in horse racing. I worked briefly in 2015 at a horse racing betting company outside of Portland, Oregon. I did it for a few weeks during one of the cups, I think the Kentucky Derby, right? And American Pharoah had done the grand, whatever the hell it was, but either way, people spent so much money, and American Pharoah is going to the owner is going to make a lot of money for selling off semen and having him act as a stud because there's so much money in horse racing. Anyway, so it says here, William Shatner got horse semen as part of his divorce settlement with ex-wife Elizabeth Shatner. The 88-year-old actor settled his divorce from Elizabeth on Tuesday and reached an agreement on how their assets would be divided. The Star Trek star will walk away with 2 of their horses, Renaissance Man's Medici and Powder River Shirley, and 2 dogs, Macchiato and Double Espresso, as well as all the horse semen and equipment used for horse breeding, according to court documents. And again, it's the semen that's important here. That's so funny to sit there and talk about the importance and the financial value of horse semen. Now, Elizabeth, who is a horse trainer, will get some other horses as well. They have no children. Okay, anyway, down here it just says, filings show that the pair had a prenuptial agreement, so neither will be receiving spousal support, and his estimated net worth is over $100 million. They filed for divorce December after 18 years of marriage, and they settled a month later, and she's his 4th wife. So, and I saw people talking about this with William Shatner on Twitter. I did. I was kind of watching them, and he was like, well, it's not really, he was trying to play it off or whatever. Dude, just openly have the conversation about you breed horses. The headline is funny. The headline is the attention getter. The headline is, Captain James T. Kirk owns all the horse semen. You know, I mean, it's like, what? That's kind of weird. Let me look into this. But if you know anything about the equestrian world, you know anything about how all that breeding stuff works out, there is so much damn money in that. There is so much damn money in horse racing. And so it just makes the most amount of sense that he would most likely want to go and have this be a thing for him, have this be a big deal. You know, that would be the way for him to make the catch, is what I'm trying to say. And I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's really funny. I think the story's really funny. I think it's really funny. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. So definitely let me know down in the comments. And as for everything else, this is going to wrap up the show for today. It's only about 20 some odd minutes. You know, went through these stories pretty quick. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and giving the likes and the comments and everything else. And if you guys have any stories you want to submit, let me know down in the comments below. I'll take a look at them, or follow me on Twitter. I'll see you guys later for another episode of Stranger Days. Have yourself a fantastic one, and peace out.